In his book, Out of the Depths, former Chief Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau of Israel tells us the following story of his liberation. He was a little boy, just 8 years old, when he was liberated from Buchenwald. And at that time, the chief Jewish chaplain of the United States Army was Rabbi Herschel Schachter. Rabbi Schachter comes in, and there he sees this little boy. And in an Yiddish, which is heavily accented in an American accent, he says to the little boy, how old are you? How old are you? He was so surprised to see a little boy, survivor of the concentration camps. And Rabbi Lau, who wasn't used to speaking to strangers after all of these years in the camp, said to him, what difference does it make anyway? At any rate, I am older than you are. And the chaplain got a shock, and he said, well, what do you mean that you're older than I am? And he said, because you laugh like a child. I haven't laughed in many years. I cannot cry. I cannot even cry anymore. So at any rate, I am older than you. He didn't have a chance to have a childhood. And I think that this story can cast a light on something that happens in our parsha, a very, very devastating episode. We are told that Dinah, the only daughter of Yaakov, goes out into the surrounds of the city of Shechem, and there the prince of the city sees her. She's a very beautiful woman. He takes her, he accosts her, he rapes her, and he abuses her. Then he comes later on to speak to Yaakov, her father, and he says that he's fallen in love with Dinah, and he wants to marry Dinah, and he's prepared to offer an enormous dowry, whatever they want. And all of the brothers of Dinah gather together, and they are absolutely furious. And they're not going to let this go. And they plot a plan, and in their minds, they're going to take revenge. And they say to the prince of Shechem and to his father, okay, you want to marry our sister, that's fine, but then you have to be circumcised, like we are. And then we can marry into your nation, and you can marry into our nation. But without that, we're going to take our sister, and we're going to go. And the young prince is so besotted with Dinah that he agrees. They go back to the town, they convince everybody to circumcise themselves, and on the third day after the bris, two of the brothers of Dinah, Shimon and Levi, come in and completely plunder the city, kill all of the males, and take everything as booty. And when the Torah describes them, it says that the two men, Shimon and Levi, come into the city and plunder the city. Now, without going into exactly how they were justified in doing such a thing, we can ask the following question. Why does the Torah describe Shimon and Levi as men? They, in fact, were not men. If you do the calculation, you can work out that Shimon and Levi at that time were very, very young. Perhaps they were bar mitzvah age, but most likely they were even younger than that. So why does it refer to them as men? And the simple explanation is that this is, in fact, one of the sources in the Torah that when a boy turns 13, he becomes of age, he becomes a man. But one of our commentators tells us something very, very interesting. And he says that it is the tzoros, the difficulty and the sufferings that the Jewish people have gone through that take children and turn them into adults. These were not adults of age. They were really children. But because they had gone through such a difficult time, they suddenly became adults. That's exactly what happened with Rabbi Lau. Rabbi Lau was never really a child. He was a tiny little boy, and suddenly his whole world was swept away. His beloved father, who was the rabbi of Piotrkov, was killed. His mother was gone. His brothers had disappeared. The community that he loved was gone. His whole world had caved in. He had no time to play with a teddy bear or to run around and to make a noise like a regular child. Suddenly that child had been turned into a man, into an adult before his time. And this is the lesson, the unfortunate lesson of Jewish history, that far too often our young children have become adults before their time. And it's unfortunate that in our generation, we want our children to grow up very quickly. We want them to be sophisticated. We want them to have culture. We want them to dress as adults and behave like adults. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Let them be children. Let them have the opportunity to be children. Let them crawl before they can walk. That's what they should do. There is a process in Jewish law for a child to be a child, and for an adolescent, and for an adult, and for an elderly person. All of those stages of life are so important. And unless circumstances take a child and turn them into an adult, that is the last thing that we want to do. Let your children be healthy children. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.